Good evening. Welcome to the November Parish Council meeting. Tonight we've got the usual reports from the Clerk, our Ward Councillor, the clubhouse and the public art project. There's just one planning application this month, which is a rear ground floor extension at 26 Lodge Farm Court. And there's also the formal approval of the planning conditions for the clubhouse, which I very much doubt that we'll object to. The resolutions tonight are to order some furniture items that are on long lead times for the clubhouse using some S106 funding that has very recently become available last week. We're also going to consider amending the community infrastructure funding application, which included 50% of picnic benches to go up at the sports ground, as the community space company has been able to obtain some nice second-hand benches at a lower price than even our 50%. There's a resolution to make some changes to the tennis court electrics, which, apart from making them safe, is to ensure that usage can be switched from outside of the pavilion, rather than actually having to go in it as they do at the moment, and to be separately metered. Well, actually, it's the cricket showers that will be separately metered. To consider a quotation to reproduce the artwork on the plinth in Castle Field, which is weathered very badly. To consider repairs to the footpath, which I've got a feeling, is that going to be adjourned?
Yeah, that's going to be adjourned.
Yeah, that'll be adjourned, actually. And finally, to consider contacting Milton Keynes Council and Arriva about the timetable changes to the 33 bus. There is one part 2 item, which is to consider a complaint about the council and the location of a dog bin in Shepperton Close. It will seem rather odd, but parish councils are not answerable to a principal authority such as Milton Keynes Councillors. We are a statutory body in our own right. So complaints about the council are considered by the council itself, and at the request of the complainant, this will be held in part 2, from which the public are excluded. And finally, can I remind everyone that next Sunday is Remembrance Sunday, and a service of commemoration will be held at 9:15 at the War Memorial. This year, the Hanslope and Castlethorpe Cubs and Beavers will parade and lay a wreath on behalf of the village. Councillor Alison Andrew will lay a wreath on behalf of Milton Keynes Council, and an officer will lay a wreath on behalf of Thames Valley Police. Moore Street will be closed from 9 AM to 9:45 between the 2 South Street junctions, and traffic diverted via South Street. There is a service immediately afterwards at the church, at which residents are also invited. So that's by way of introduction. Open forum.
I do have a sorry.
Tony.
We've gone out to an open meeting with MK at Hanslope a month or so ago, and the expansion seems to be round Hanslope and possibly Castle, because they've got problems with infrastructure. They haven't got any.
Yeah.
We ought to be doing us or something about the bends up to the navigation. The road they want widening or something like absolute dynamite. Lorries are now 6 feet longer. Agricultural machinery gets bigger every year. What we do about it, that's well, real bottleneck there.
Yeah, I mean, we did look at the city plan quite carefully, and indeed, Steve Patrick came and spoke at the last meeting, which was pretty much the last opportunity that we had to respond to the draft consultation. It appears that at this time, none of the sites, well, there's only 2 sites which are 2 or 3, 3 that are regarded as viable in Castlethorpe, but none of them have been included in the draft plan at this stage. Steve Patrick did point out that Milton Keynes Council still haven't allocated enough land for their overall target, and the parish council did submit an objection to housing or further development here, mainly because of exactly the reasons you've mentioned, the lack of infrastructure, highways, medical facilities,
Yeah.
schools, bus services, and so on. So yeah, we did object to that. That went in time for the response.
So we've got a meeting Wednesday, and I'll bring it up at Cosgrove.
Yeah.
All those up to the Nappy, that definitely wants some work, not 30 wants.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
okay. But could I just ask, Chan, what was the session at Hanslope and who arranged it?
It's fine.
No, it's the Milton Keynes one. It's the one that Russell went to, I think,
Yeah, you-
and Steve Patrick went to.
Very told.
Oh, right, yeah.
It tells you how good
Yeah.
the case was, but never answered any questions. I told you.
But it's nothing new.
Except the plans.
Yeah.
The plans are interesting.
Yeah. That is actually was technically the strategic housing
Yeah.
AA allocation. I can never remember what it stands for. Liam probably knows, but anyway. What does the SHAR stand? Assessment, allocation assessment. Anyway.
Newport, one that goes over to Newport and the M1, they've got to put either one or two bridges over the M1.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's going to be a costly old business.
it's a lot of money.
That was-
I think that's £1 million a time, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's, we have objected, Tony,
Yeah.
so that's, is there anything else?
No,
I had something, a resident asked about the salt bins. Could we, the one on, the New Road and Prospect Place share,
Yeah,
needs some salt.
well,
Yeah.
we do that as you can do that just as a matter of routine, because we do it every year.
Actually, you might like to have a word with Scott, because last time Scott very kindly offered
Yeah, you've got this.
to, if we buy it, have it delivered to him and
Yeah.
he'll fill the bin.
Okay.
Well, it's
Well,
delivered
he did last time.
he
anyway.
did, yeah. It's
Scott-
delivered in sacks, isn't it?
It was delivered on a pallet last time.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, if you
So
can
I
do
can
that,
do
yeah.
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 Okay, very good. Then, in that case, let's move into the meeting. We've got apologies for absence from Darren Merritt by reason of childcare, his wife's away, from Dave Hines, personal reasons, and from Ian Markham by way of illness. Declarations of interest, and myself, Russell and Steve are all directors of Castlethorpe Community Space, CIC. I'm also a director of the Shop Association, CIC, but these are personal interests and a declaration of interest is required. Any other declarations of interest? No. In that case, if we can now move to the minutes of the 7th of October. And can I ask if there's any matter of accuracy or in those minutes that needs to be corrected? In that case, can I have a proposer, which is Russell, and we're all in favour? Oh, I think Steve is seconding. Right, now moving on to the clerk's report. So just moving down, I think the first one that is a non-information item is that we do need to have scheduled monument consent to do the repair at Castle Field. I gather that he can't put a camera down, as we were hoping last meeting.
Yeah.
And therefore we just got to go ahead and repair it. So is that something you're?
I can, but it was just the point that if we repair one, another one might appear somewhere else. It was just to make everybody aware that if we do repair it, it's.
Could I also add that there's a couple of kind of post and rail fencing round trees that have collapsed. And if we're getting an archaeologist in, it might be a good time to. But I mean, either we actually say that we're not going to make any further holes and use the existing holes.
I would use the existing.
But it might be worth doing it while there's
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be the same contractor, being Michael, wouldn't it? So,
so it's probably worth doing that at the same time.
So we want to go
That's good.
ahead with this repair them?
Well, I think we have to really, yeah. I mean, I am uncomfortable that the camera can't go down because no one seems to know where that field drain runs to.
No.
You know, Luke Stacey doesn't know, Ian Markham doesn't know. And Ian knows everything there is to know about drains.
And we have had one very bad flood, haven't we?
We have, and it was coming out from the field, but whether it was anything to do with that drain or whether it was just running down
We
the,
don't know, but
Right.
I mean, that's a flood that we've never had before.
Yeah.
But did it cope with it? This is, you know.
well, it came onto the road, didn't it? And it
Yeah,
ran along to the-
it's a bumper.
and then it went down the surface water drain,
So I
pretty
think
much in
it's
front of Castle House.
just, this is going to be quite expensive, isn't it, to repair? And if it doesn't work, that is my
Is there
concern.
nothing else that he can do?
You know, or do we just,
Can he rod it and see what happens further down?
I think he said because it's an old French clay pipe that is very small and
Yeah, no,
we couldn't get,
About that service.
there wasn't a canvas.
Well, I mean, that's a very interesting point. If the pipe is that small, it can't be carrying very much water, can it?
Where can it speed?
Well, it has to be a very, very far.
Those old land drains are short and they move,
Yeah.
so you end up not a straight passage through.
I mean, if it is very expensive, I mean, would it be better just to leave it and see what happens? Unless he can rod it, something. I mean,
You can't, if they're thin pipes, you won't be able to rod them. You'll break them.
I know it flooded, but it was just how well,
Yeah.
it didn't do any damage to anywhere, did it?
It did get to them, but there again, I mean, as I probably thought, it's the channel down to the right of the field as you're walking down towards the shop, isn't
Yeah, that's it.
it? And it was to the left of that it flooded.
no. I thought it pretty much came out of the kissing gate there.
Yeah.
Is it kissing gate with the gate there?
Yeah.
And onto the road. So I think it was just flooding down that kind of bit of the, I think it's the Mott, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the moment.
Yeah, moat. So it was just literally coming down there, but whether it was, I didn't walk up there when it was happening. I don't know if any of the rest of us did, but I couldn't see where, so I don't know whether it was coming out from that drain and flooding down, in which case you might argue that we ought to be doing something.
He said it was bubbling up from that.
I'm sorry?
He walked the dog in Castlefield and he said it was like bubbling up from the drain. So I can ask him if he knows where it goes as well, where it came from, where it originates from.
Well, what do we want to do? Are we going to defer this or are we going to,
I mean, if Ollie can give an opinion, and defer it to next month.
yeah.
Because it is
We really
very
ought to go
expensive.
there when it is in flood
Yeah.
and see whether water is running down from further up the field, in which case repairing that pipe, even if it bubbles a bit, frankly, isn't going to make much difference.
Mm.
Or whether the source of the water is out from there, in which case we really ought to clear it and repair it. But, yeah, is that okay?
I think so.
No, I'll
Okay.
ask Ollie if he knows
All right.
anything.
And if we can all, if it's flooding and some of us have got long boots or something on, so we can get up there, we'll do that.
Can you give me specifics?
I'll email it to you.
Yeah, can you just email it to me so I can, that'll remind me as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Community Spade Watch, Steve, have you actually made a contact in October?
Sorry, no.
No, okay. And I think the rest is. Then there's I think the rest are items carrying forward. Does anyone want to raise 12 to 17? No. And then there's all of the highways. I did actually, Alison has got a meeting with highways, and I did go right through. It's dreadful. you know, the reported system when you're trying to get everything you want, because you have to open every individual item and then drill down with several clicks to get it, which I spent an afternoon just going through all mine, and it wasn't the whole afternoon, and made up a table of all the highways issues. And the problem is that they close some when they're not closed, and they leave some open when they've been closed. And then they've got some open which are just open. And it is just, and then you've got repeat problems like NS9 on the corner by the church and the school has had just repeated problems for about 2 or 3 years, and is now flickering anyway. It's got another flicker. And the last time they repaired it, they didn't put an LED in there, which, you know, proper fix. They just tried fixing the old halogen again. You know, it is false economy, really.
Are we happy that all the ones we've got completed really are, flagged completed really are completed?
No, oh, no, absolutely not. No, I had to go through each of them to work them out.
And on here, some that they say are completed, they just say it's completed, but that's not necessarily resolved. It's just they don't want to, you
So
know,
it is-
as far as they're concerned, it is.
So those that are actually completed are removed, are they? The ones that
No.
are
Well, on my list is different to this one.
Right.
My list is all the ones that I personally raised, which I sent across to Jackie, and I tend to copy Jackie on whenever I raise one. And Jackie didn't have, I don't think you had any more to add to it. But you go down there, I mean, like the curbstones on the corner opposite Elm Tree Cottage,
Yeah.
which have been outstanding for 2 years now, and which I raised specifically in a meeting with Graham Cox. They marked it as completed because I told them. Would you credit it? You know.
They think it's completed because they're saying it's not like
No,
the ones
I'm-
that are not at a best again.
I'm just thinking for this list to be useful, maybe we want the status of completed, of Milton Keynes Council say completed, but it's not.
Yeah.
And have that status.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but did you update this list
I did go.
with the ones? Yeah. So it
Because
probably
they're
is
not
up.
really completed, if they're not really completed, and if they are completed, then we'll take them off, should take them off, I think.
Like, and it's not, I don't think it's completed.
No, they said it is.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go.
See
Let's
how
go.
Alison gets on.
But Alison has got a meeting, and
Yeah.
I think we might suggest to her that, you know, a site visit coming out here might help, because anyway, there we go. Right. Anything else anyone wants to raise? Liam, have you got anything to report from Galactic HQ?
Yes, yeah, we've got a few bits. Chris and Alison have sent me some stuff as well, so it might be a bit lengthy. Chris is celebrating the fact that a pothole on Station Road is getting fixed in 2 weeks. So.
I think so too.
Is that big
It's
one?
all before.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, so many people report. I mean, I reported it. You reported it. Yeah, I mean,
So we'll start on positive anyway. On the rest of the public realm issues, yeah, Alison said that she'll speak to you later this week about some of the items that have been closed. Rightly or wrongly, and then how we can proceed with that.
yeah. I mean, waste is the other one. I mean, I was delivering some leaflets a week or so ago, and I just got harangued by residents about, you know, it was the red bin day, you know, the red bins hadn't been collected, you
The
know.
black bins this week.
And this week, numbers 11 to 17 haven't had their black bins collected.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just, you put your head in, and the point I made here was, you know, okay, if it spills over to the Saturday, that's understandable. If it goes to the Monday, that is actually 4 days that the bins are out on the street. That's more than half the week. And actually, in some cases, it's going on to Tuesday.
Well, I reported it today and they said 2 days, leave it out for another 2 days. Well, it's nearly Friday again.
Yeah, so I got this last week as well, and it did get picked up until the Thursday after, and I reported it how every other resident reports it, and you get that, leave it out for a day.
2 days.
I will contact you, but
How do you say?
you don't actually get nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
That have been tree not picked up at all that week, and then and of course then it's back to blue bin. So
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
been 2 weeks.
That's
before
right,
they picked
yeah,
up. And the reporting system is really inefficient because you can't report. This street hasn't been done. You have to, every resident has to report.
No, I write in to on the email.
No, I mean residents though.
Yeah, residents.
They've tried to sort of, they've phoned
Yeah.
up and said,
The neighbours.
yeah,
Yeah.
the neighbours, so we haven't been picked up here, here. Oh no, they've got to do their own, you've got to
Yeah.
have separate reports.
I know somebody works at the convenience and done a spot check on drinking drugs. Half the drivers wouldn't be checked or dismissed.
Is that why they're
That's one of the problems. I've got lorries, but no drivers.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is Suez's problem. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you know, we did hear from Jenny Wilson Markley, who's now just moved, well, she's gone on to maternity leave. But you know, she said that there were staff shortages that were causing this. And I understand that, you know, occasionally you'll get occasional blips, but it's almost every week. And Castlethorpe really suffers because we're a Friday collection, which means it quite easily goes to Monday worse.
Yeah, so we've actually not had too many repeat missed collections anywhere other than Castlethorpe. So well, Alison's asked the waste team to actually review what's been going on, why it's been happening so often here.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to hear back on that.
Okay.
Feels like they're bitten off more than you.
They got
Yeah.
good stuff.
On section 106 as well, Alison asked housing about what's going on with section 106. Apparently, they keep a record of housing with S106 conditions and utilise it before allocating anyone to a house in order to be compliant.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So they keep a record of housing with S106 conditions and utilise it before allocating anyone to a house in order to be compliant with the hyperlocal aspects of the agreement. This is done at MKCC level before referral to a housing association.
Well, I have to say, we've not had that problem. I mean, we've had S106, obviously for the clubhouse, which we used. We've had S106 for the shop, and we've had some of that reallocated to the clubhouse, actually, because that's very short. We applied for some of the public art, and we've been told, you know, that would be given to us. We've had some for hand slope surgery, and there's never been any question that that would be made available there. We had a very large sum for the first school, and I'm pretty certain that they've been able to draw down on that. So actually, I think we've been okay on it.
So I think that might have been about the casework issue we've been working on around the housing association. I don't want to say the resident's name, but maybe we can catch up.
Okay.
What about allocating?
Yeah, I think it's about the allocation.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm missing you. Yeah, yes, I completely misunderstood what you're saying. Yeah, if we could talk about that separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hand slope surgery is in new ownership.
What Dr. Eunice has gone.
Well, so this is what Alison sent me, saying that it's now in new ownership for a Northampton-based group, so that ICB problems will be going away anytime soon.
Is it still part of the Bucks trust?
We haven't had any contact from the new owners yet.
Okay, all right, well, let's not discuss it now if we don't know, but
Yeah.
that's obviously something needs resolving.
Yeah.
And another thing to point out is that the government's launched the New Towns Task Force today. So they've put out a call for evidence, and it ends on the 13th of December. I just thought it was worth highlighting.
Evidence what?
What is it?
So it's basically for people can put forward places that they think would be a good place for a new town. So it's more just that's been put out there. Obviously, we hope that there is no representation anywhere around here, but I just thought it was worth
Nice island.
making everyone aware.
See.
Yeah. All right, thank you. We'll watch out for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually,
Well, it was quite well. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on then. Let me report on the clubhouse. I'll give Russell an abridged version of this to go on the website. As we said last month, construction is now all complete, and that's been signed off by building control. We are waiting for the discharge of planning conditions, but that should be straightforward, because one is just the watching brief of the archaeological work, and the other is the bike rack, which is both is being installed, so should be all right. We're now fitting out the clubhouse. The cost of fitting out the cafe and the bar is about 25k, with another 6k if we want additional kitchen equipment for certain menus. And it does, I've got a feeling we may find that there is at least an extractor hood, which is 2.5k, that we will need to do. There are also some uncosted items at the moment, including curtains, exterior signage, which I suspect might be quite a lot, and outside lighting. It is really quite dark up there when you walk across that footpath. Appeals for donations have been made at the open day on social media, and the village has been leafleted. We have had some generous donations, totaling about 6k via crowdfunding and the direct donations to the bank account. And as I mentioned before, CCS, that's a community space, community interest company, has used some of this purchase to buy picnic benches for the garden area. Just over £8,000 from the village amenities S106 allocation will not now be needed for the shop extension, and has been reallocated for the clubhouse. We're awaiting a decision from National Lottery on our revised bid for funding. This should be due. I calculated the weeks. They're meant to do it within a certain number of weeks. I think it's 12 weeks or something. But anyways, it should be mid-November. I think it was the 16th, so it should be by the end of next week. But having been previously refused, we don't have high hopes. Nonetheless, we won't really commit the bulk of our expenditure until we know the result of that, because you can't claim retrospectively, and if we spend it, that will be our money rather than National Lottery money. And if we have to spend it, the backstop is the loan that we have to take out, part of which we'll definitely need when and if we receive an invoice from Milton Keynes Council for the streetlights project, which incidentally is still not fully complete. There's still items outstanding on it, and which we will dispute because of their poor management. We will need to discuss renewing the PWLB loan before April. I mean, it's not immediate, but in the next few months, because the offer expires then, and we have to decide what we're going to do with it, or whether it's possible to extend it. In the meantime, we need to order some long lead time items for furnishings, principally the banquette seating, which has got to be made, custom made, and the easy chairs, which have got to be particularly, covered in the materials that we want, and tables. The S106 officer has confirmed that we're now able to place orders, and a resolution is in part 2 as the cost exceeds £2,000. So we had to get competitive quotes. The remainder, as I say, of the phase 2 equipment and furnishings are ex-stock or on short delivery, and will be brought for approval at the December Parish Council meeting. Now, the only thing I would add here is if we are currently in the process of interviewing prospective tenants. If it turns out that the menus that they're bringing forward will require an extractor hood, then as soon as we get the National Lottery, and that's, I know, is on 12 weeks delivery. If it turns out we do need the extractor hood, then I think I would like to, perhaps we could cover this in the resolution later on, but I would like to ask Jackie or the council to agree that Jackie can approve that, because I don't think we can wait until the December meeting. It's another 2 weeks and we're very tight. The existing footpath light has been upgraded, so it now works both for footpath users as well as the entrance to the clubhouse. As moving on to tenant selection, as reported last month, a very good number of expressions of interest were submitted, and applicants were sent a prospectus and a questionnaire. Not surprisingly, some of the inquiries were rather casual and they didn't respond with the questionnaire. But we have got a number, and I think we prefer not to say the exact number at this stage in public. And we are currently in the process of meeting them. We've also taken advice from local businessmen on rents, and we are going to be offering attractive rents with a rent-free period in order to ensure that the village is going to get fair prices, as well as ensuring that the tenant will have a successful business. We're going to be offering a 6-year tenancy with a rent review and break point at 3 years. So we are hoping to select a tenant. I think it should be doable during the course of November, and then finalise the lease by then or early December. But you know, we do want to emphasise that it's important to get this right rather than quick, because choosing the tenant is actually the most important thing to make sure it's going to be a success. If we do that, then I would guess that we're likely to be opening the pavilion sort of late January, early February, probably nearer to early February actually, because of the deliveries of equipment. In parallel, the tenant will have to obtain all the licenses and so on, and that means tying in with the Milton Keynes licensing subcommittee and so on, and when they meet. The final bit I'm now calling phase 4 is that once an opening date is in sight, applications for membership will be invited. Everyone in the village is entitled to be a member for free, as are people who've got, not living in the village, but have got connections to it, for example, members of the sports teams. And once the pavilion is opened and we've got the operation settled down, then there'll be a general meeting of members will be called and a new board can be elected. So it's a bit odd asking questions because there's only Kay who's not part of CCS, but there you go. Right. In that case, Public Arts Project, there's nothing to report. The previous officer passed away unexpectedly. The new officer is obviously very, very busy. I have written to her a couple of times, but not had a substantive reply. So if we can move on then to planning applications. The first is a single-storey rear extension at 26 Lodge Farm Court. Does anyone wish to raise anything for comment by way of potentially objecting? Okay. No, that's all right. Yeah, okay, no objections. And I'm assuming, well, I'm not sure really that we can say very much on the approval of details for our own planning application. But in any case, I don't think we do normally comment on planning condition approvals. Any comments on section 6 for residents? Section 6 are previous planning applications that we've already discussed and which are still in process. Councillors, there's only 3 actually at the moment.
And I think 2 of them are only on there because of the new.
Because in 6.1, the Cosgrove warehouse development, I guess there's no developments on that.
No, well, not formally anyway. So the other 2 were a tree reduction at the Acorn Day Nursery and a non-material amendment at 45 Thrupp Close, where some work is going on. Right, in that case, we do need to have a resolution to exclude the public from a part 2 of the meeting, which I'll propose. Need a second. Russell, favour, good. To agree to order long lead time items for the pavilion, I have put an email from Lawrence Chapman, who did the work on this, and basically he's got 3 companies that he's looked at there. One which this really ought to have been in part 2, shouldn't it?
I didn't realise that you were going to give quotes. I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it should be, yeah. I didn't realise that. I thought you agreed to order them. I didn't realise you were actually going to bring up the quote.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, in that case, rather than going into the details of the quotes, can I, well, it's my fault because I read the draft agenda. Can I propose that we order the furniture from Forest?
So,
Which happens to be the cheapest of the three and the one that is recommended by Lawrence.
yeah,
Yeah, so I propose that.
Second.
Okay, all in favour, very good. And can I just, while we're on this business of this extract canopy, if it turns out that we do need it in order to, basically, if you're going to fry anything like chips or bacon or things like that, you're going to need a canopy. We've got the extractor fan there, but you need to capture it a bit more.
You need it for condensation and stuff as well.
Sorry?
You need it for condensation, not just smell from the sides.
There is an extractor fan there, this is just.
Yeah, there are two fans. There's one that sucks in and one that sucks it out. The sucking out one is over where the oven will go. So once we know, if we find that we will need it from discussions with these tenants, and well, either way, once we know the decision on the National Lottery, if we can then go ahead and order it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. 7.3 is then the making the tennis court electrical switch box safe. It opens at the moment, just needs a couple of screws, but there's special electrician screws, which I didn't realise electricians had special screws, but they do. Relocating the isolation switch, which is how they switch on those lights, to the outside, so there will be no need for the tennis in a lockable cabinet. So there'll be no need for the tennis players to actually go in to the pavilion, which is obviously going to be a potential security issue once it's in operation, and to separate out the cricket showers into a different meter or to their own meter. The tennis courts have got a meter, the football club has got a meter, so the only one that hasn't is the cricket. So this means that the tenant will be responsible for the utility bill and will then be able to charge on whatever use there is. And this will just avoid all the arguments about, no, we didn't use the showers and we didn't do that. And I can just see this happening. We don't do it. So you've got the quotes there in front of you. Are we okay with that? So, no, I'm sorry, I'm just closed the wrong. Any questions on it? Sorry, so we can take me a moment just to do this now. Right, so then move on to.
That's 7.3.
Do you know, mine's printed has come out really slightly odd. Oh, right, okay. That was 7.3. Yeah, right. We've got a community infrastructure application in to buy 5 picnic tables, which are about 500 quid each, and which we would have to have paid £12.50. And also for a large concrete waste bin, which will obviously be needed once that pavilion is in use, which I think was about £750, wasn't it? Of which we have to pay half. I think the proposal is that we can't use the money for something else, so we've got a choice. Either we relocate those picnic benches down to the fish ponds, or we reduce, tell Milton Keynes Council we don't need all of the money and let them have it back for another project.
I'd say just keep the application in for the waste bin and the rest go back.
Yeah.
Well, we need picnic benches down fish ponds, though, don't we?
But we're not exactly flush.
Well, we
How
could.
much is money given?
I mean, the only thing.
We'll have to pay half.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
We could maybe get a couple.
We could get a couple, couldn't we, to go down there?
Yeah,
We don't know if the application's successful yet anyway, do we?
No, but for a very small amount, I think it probably would be okay. Shall we say that we bought some and we reduce it to 2?
yeah.
Is that okay, Russell? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, we'll do that then. Sorry, my this is all got printed out of line. So the next one is the artwork on the plinth in Castle Field, Russell.
Yeah, I can't find the quotation.
It's in the folder. It's in the folder.
Okay, it's stuck in the open on.
It's,
Hang on a minute. I'll just-
Anyway, I can't remember exactly, it's about £300. Here we go.
yeah, it's about second row down.
Oops.
About fourth row down. Oh, not well, I was going to say.
There you go. It's
Yeah.
it's 244. I found it. Okay.
It's the same material that the village entrance signs and the maps and the information thing on the village green, which is weatherproof. And it's quite cheap. Most of the work it goes into setting it all up, so that the price of buying one is £218. To get two, it's 233, and three, it's 249.
Yeah. Well, I personally have an ambition to, I don't know if the council would support it in due course, but not immediately, that we actually have a display at the North Street entrance to Castlethorpe to explain the field as well. So I would certainly like to get 2, and I think having one as a spare would not be a bad idea, given its pence ready to
So that's £249.
Well, there's 3 ways.
244.
Isn't there 3 entrances to the village? Why not just get 3 if we're running out of trouble?
The Lodge Farm is where the plinth is at the moment.
Well, it's sort of in a,
It's in the field.
it's in the middle of the field.
Side Castlethorpe, not.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
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 So as you go through the gate in Castlethorpe,
Yeah.
maybe on the left hand side through the shop.
Yeah. I think that would be quite nice. I mean, I think we'd have to put it outside the field, because I can't really stomach paying.
Oh, no.
Paying
Yeah.
what's the incremental cost? It's 14 pounds for the thing, and 1700 for an archaeologist to supervise it.
Mind you, that then becomes Milton Keynes Council,
Yeah, and then-
the highways, didn't it?
Yeah, but they probably would. We get permission.
So they wanted a lot of money for us making holes into the village entry signs.
Yeah, they did. Well,
Holes in there.
we'll have to see.
It'll also,
Put it absolutely on the boundary.
Okay.
On the
if you're also looking at drive, you'll see I'm working on the actual reproducing it. I'm still waiting for the big illustration in the middle, which is one I can't replicate, and a resident's son has kindly volunteered to do that.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, that's very
Brilliant.
Yeah.
very good. Okay, so we're all agreed on that. We'll get 3, yes.
3.
Yeah. Right, Steve, to review performance of the outsourced landscape contractor and consider contract renewal.
Well, Jackie reminded me that we went into contract with 1 year, for 1 year, with a review after the end of that year, and an option to renew for 2 more. And I would say that we should be happy with the standard of the work that they've done. In fact, the hedges they've cut inside of Castlefield, haven't they? Did they do that?
Do that.
Didn't they?
Mm.
But, and in the sports ground.
With the bottom ones.
So the renewal is, I take it there's a percentage uplift, small percentage uplift.
I haven't asked them, but yeah, I would imagine so. I
Well,
just wanted to check that we wanted to go that route
so
before
I mean, subject to a small percentage uplift, which you can expect, we used to get that from our.
When is the decision? Is it now? Like, you have to make a decision now.
Well, before February.
Before February.
So
So if Jackie and
I'll go
myself
and
look at
ask.
it,
Yeah, I mean, Jackie did make a point a year ago when we were doing the budget that, perhaps we ought to review whether we're going to outsource still. I mean, I like it being outsourced,
Yeah,
but it is a lot of money.
it is a lot of money, but Milton Keynes Council have cut down the number of cuts they do.
They,
I believe so.
oh dear. Oh,
And, you know, I think one of our principal responsibilities is to keep the village looking nice.
yeah, no, I absolutely
And
agree.
village cutting is very important, and I think nobody can have any doubts that the quality of the village is better since council.
It is the same contractor, interestingly enough, it would just be the amount.
Yeah.
It's the same Glendale and Milton Keynes,
Yeah,
contract, and, which we didn't know at the time.
yeah, but they may have a different spec in terms of number
Yeah.
of cuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be, as we've got in February, I think, and I mean, I guess we'll be starting to look at the budget next month.
Yeah,
I think, you know, if we could do that, and perhaps you could inquire of whoever's doing the landscaping, I don't know who the officer is now. Is it Kay Pettit still, or do you go
Yeah,
through
yeah.
Kay to, and just find out what the service is, if it is going to be. Or it may be that we've committed anyway by outsourcing for so many years, but if it's a similar number of cuts, we
mean,
may
they
as
might-
well just,
They may come back and say, well, we don't want to renew,
yeah.
have to have a look at the list.
Well, because he was a bit po-faced, wasn't he, as I gathered, when he realised he wasn't getting the hand slope as
Yeah,
well.
when the Hanslope pulled out, they
Yeah.
were less enthusiastic.
Yeah. Don't know if Hanslope are looking to come back in or not.
Well, actually, could you have a word with you? See how we get on.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll have a bigger discussion on this next time.
Yeah.
Right, the next one, the repair of the footway, we're going to have to leave this time round, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And then the last of the main resolutions is about the changes to the bus timetable. Russell, would you like to say a few words on that?
Yeah, since the 4th of November, the early morning 33 bus that used to go to Wolverton on the usual route has been diverted to go straight to Stantonbury, so it doesn't call it at Wolverton anymore. It also used to go to St Paul's School in Leadenhall, where there are a number of children in the village go to that. And it no longer does that. That means that anybody going to any of the schools in Wolverton or working in the Wolverton area has a long walk from New Bradwell to get the connecting bus. I've got a draft of a letter suggesting that I'm assuming that one bus does, it's a 2-bus service. I'm assuming that those 2 buses are on the service altogether. So the bus that would be the X33 going via Stantonbury gets into the station, which is the new terminus for it, at 8:40, and it appears to stay there until 9:10, which is a 30-minute layover. So that suggests that there is plenty of time for it to, instead of turning left towards New Bradwell, turn right to Wolverton, go round Church Street, bus interchange, where people can get 4, 5, 6 and 7 to connect to wherever. And that will also be quicker for people going into central London, kids are going by Stantonbury, and then either go back on its original route through New Bedwell, or else go down through Tesco's and down Connell Drive where it used to go before.
Yeah.
And then take H6 Carsway to Stantonbury.
Okay. Right, that all sounds very sensible. I have seen there's been quite a lot of comments on Facebook from both our residents and Hanslope residents.
But I think that probably will work.
Yeah. Okay.
There is also one other thing as well, that Alison Andrew is our ward councillor, is on the case and has been liaising with Arriva and City Council. She's been told by residents of Hanslope that drivers on the 33 bus quite frequently don't ask for any fare, which means that the usage is not correctly recorded, and it could be when they're looking for in the future to cut bus services. This could be held against us unless we make sure that this is
It was like 10 trips, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was no fares out of so many, and then there was 6 out of a lesser number. That's a lot of money.
It's £2 a time, so.
Well, £3 a day.
Well,
I'm very happy with Russell's letter, draft
Yeah.
letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sensible.
and I mean, I know you can't directly speak for Alison, but I mean, do you think she'd be fairly comfortable with the letter? You can see it.
I don't know, yeah, because I think, it's clear that something's gone wrong.
CC her in it.
Can you mention that it's not just Paul's school, people involved?
It's,
It
nothing-
affects
that's
Milton
been
Keynes College as well, because the students
Yeah.
can't actually get there
Yeah.
before 9:10 is the earliest,
Yes.
which makes them late for lessons, which
Yeah.
is very disruptive to learning.
Yeah.
And if they insist that they've got to
It's,
stay in education till they're 19, then they need to facilitate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're
Actually changing the bus, if it's the Bletchley College, then changing the bus to the 5 or the 6 and Wolverton should go in there.
I'm not sure which it is, but I can ask.
Yeah.
You can ask on Facebook, literally, which campus is it affecting, but I know that,
Yeah.
because somebody said you could walk it, so it's probably Saffron, I'm guessing, which makes Bletchley even worse. So,
Anyway, I think thank you very much for doing that research, Russell, and I think that's an excellent letter. So we're happy for that to go. Presumably you wanted to go on behalf of the council,
Yes.
Jackie, yes. Thank you.
I'm also going to a meeting of the in a week's time, which is mainly to do with the contractor at MK Connect. I'll also raise it with the transport at the council.
Right, okay then, and that's the last of the resolutions. So we now move on to the payment schedule. And the Hickford's Lighting haven't put their invoice in. The Hickford's main final invoice was already approved in previous meeting, wasn't it? So that doesn't need to be here. Any questions on the on the payment schedule? What's happening with the Scott Welding and Fabrication with the
Yeah,
third?
that's what I was just, I was speaking to Steve about that earlier. But he's just put in the quote for that
Yeah,
place today, so it was too late to go on here, so I
Okay.
just need to do an email out tomorrow asking for
Okay.
approval, because it's over my £500.
okay.
So
But that's 700 included.
that didn't include that.
No, it didn't include that. It included some work, or maybe he's done a bit.
Yeah,
work
this
that was-
is in addition.
Yeah, in addition, okay. All right, okay, we'll send that round. Yes, Kay?
a formula on your VAT, please.
Was it wrong again?
No, it's just numbers instead of a formula that literally times the subtotal by 20% VAT? No,
On some,
what's
on
Yeah,
the utility, it's less.
20%. So you literally
Yeah.
just put,
Yeah.
so for £9 was 99, you put £2 in. So a formula will do that automatically for you.
Yeah.
And then your formula and the total will still work.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that for you.
Okay.
Just forgive me.
I'll forward you this.
Actually, I had a matter arising from probably last month's payment schedule. The close mirror, has that been?
It still hasn't arrived.
Yeah.
We've paid for it. and we're still
Yeah, we did
waiting
pay for it, yeah.
Yeah.
I did chase it and the guy was very apologetic, saying he hadn't realised that the supplier, it was coming direct from the supplier, and the supplier hadn't told him that it hadn't
Okay.
gone. But they're waiting for it to come into stock, and I think it's due the 11th, which is after Dave's had his operation, so he won't be able to put it up.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
but we have-
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
Right, in that case, I would formally propose that we approve the finance schedule. Russell is seconding. Yeah. And so I'm signing this. We've also got a transfer of money.
Should I have it on?
You've got from CCLA, you've got 23,000.
Oh, that was from last time. Take it on.
That's all.
No, because it's going to come out in December, isn't it? For your spreadsheet. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we were right for this one, so that, yeah,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Well, if it doesn't, we just have to ask. See, Russell, can you sign that, please? Right, a meeting of the finance committee, this can either be formal or informal, is to start, but the actual decision on next year's budget will be done in full council. But we do need a finance committee or meeting, as I say, formally or informally, online or in person, over probably in the next couple of weeks, don't we?
To get it started, because we're in.
Do you want to see if you've got dates?
Yeah.
Invite everybody to come,
Yeah.
and see if you can do it, perhaps next week.
What, invite all council, just the
Yeah.
finance committee?
Get it on the website and see what.
Yeah, because it needs to come to the next meeting.
Yeah. And ask us whether we'd prefer to do it online or. Sometimes with these things, it's actually easier to do it online because you can share spreadsheets.
Yeah, that lend itself exactly to what you need to do for that.
Yeah.
If you go through line by line and,
Yeah,
Okay.
but in advance of that, it's so tricky if you could sort of. Well, no, and if even in estimating the spend to the end of the year for this year's, we could do that
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
It's 3 or 4 heads are much better than one, and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Especially with our financial situation this
Yeah.
year rather than previous years.
yeah.
You need to tread carefully.
Yes, I mean, on my cash projection, I mean, we will be a bit over the 20,000 that we said we'd have at the end of the year, but not by a huge amount. And I am worried that there are, some other items that keep sticking their head up. But anyway, there we go.
We've done it fencing.
Fencing the trees.
Yeah. Right, correspondence. Have we got no correspondence? Any other business for noting or including on a future agenda? No, very good. So the next meeting then is, let's see when that is. I have it as the 2nd of December, is that right?
Yep.
2nd of December. But please, if any residents are still with us, do remember the Remembrance Sunday service at 9:15 next Sunday. Right, in that case, I can now close part 1 of the meeting. So thank you very much. Bye.